Recording. Okay. Yeah. So hope everyone is able to get my screen. So good evening. In today's session, we will understand the budgets and scenario management in Tally. Hope my screen is visible to everyone. Voice is audible. Can
Yes,
anyone
sir.
confirm?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. Great. Okay. Fine. So what do you understand by budgets? Okay. So the purpose of the training is there. Hope everyone is clear. It's to ensure with this participation, you should be able to help your business grow their efficiency and ensure that you eliminate the duplication of work. Okay. So budget management in Tally. For a minute, just forget Tally. What do you understand by budget? What does budget mean? From a layman perspective, what does budget mean? Can anyone tell me what does budget mean? What is budget? Do you people do budgeting in your day-to-day affair?
Yes, sir. We'll be doing.
Okay, you do budgets. How do you do budgets?
ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಇಷ್ಟಿಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಿಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳೋದು
ಹಾ
ಖರ್ಚುಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಖರ್ಚು ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ.
ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ.
ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಕ್ ಮುಂಚೆ ಓಕೆ ಇಂತಿಂತದಕ್ಕೆ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಎಸ್ ನರೇಂದ್ರ.
The budget is a total outlay of income and expenditure for the coming year.
Total outlay of income and expenditure for the coming year. Partially correct. Why can't it be done for your balance sheets?
Yeah.
Why only for your income expenditure?
Not only
for your inventory?
Yes.
Okay, so you could do for everything.
Yes, sir.
Say, in a layman sense, what Manish told was right. Budget means we do some planning, saying that okay, ನನಗೆ 10,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಸಂಬಳ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, 3,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ರೆಂಟ್ ಕಟ್ತೀನಿ, 4,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ದಿನಸಿ ತರ್ತೀನಿ, 2,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಸೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, 1,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಮಗು ಫೀಸ್ ಕಟ್ತೀನಿ, something like that. Okay, so we do some planning. Okay, or I want to go next year. I need to go to Himalayas for trekking. I need to go 15-day trek. So I do my planning. I do my budget. So I will say, okay, every day I might spend 2,000 rupees. So 10-day budget is 20,000 rupees I need. From here to Delhi, I need to travel by air. From Delhi, I need to pick a train till Kashmir, and from there I need to truck. So I do a lot more things. So what I'm basically doing is I'm just planning my financials. That is budget. Right? Similarly, even in business, we do planning. Okay, we plan for how much cash that I need to earn in next 1 year, how much cash I'm going to spend in next 1 year, or in next 1 quarter, in next 1.5 year. That is what every businessman does. Okay, see, please understand, for a businessman, budget is very important because he is looking at the future. He is not looking at the past. Okay, what has already happened is happened. You can't change that. But for future, can I plan in a better way in the given conditions? Is what budget is all about. So let us come to budgets in Tally. Now, why budgets in Tally is required? One is because Tally is my financial information system where I have the financial data. One thing is, whenever you do a budget, you will also look at your past to see where we were. Then only I will plan my future. Say example, in 2021, I had made a turnover of 10 lakh rupees. Now I will say I want to grow by 40%. So this year I need to do a turnover of 14 lakh rupees. But the 10 lakh rupees is already there in my Tally, which is my actual numbers. Right? So that is point number 1. The second point is, when I plan saying that, okay, I need to do 14 lakhs of turnover, in next 1 year for 21-22, now I also need to know every quarter, where am I? Am I going towards, I'm reaching towards my budget, or am I deviating? So even there, the actual numbers are in tally. So it becomes much more evident saying that, well, if I also have a budget in tally, it's easier for me to start comparing with actuals. So in that sense, budget is very, very critical, where you can actually plan and drive your business towards that. So as the slide says, it will also help you to analyze your business and take corrective decisions. Right? Okay. Now let's do one thing. We had one data, right? We prepared one data for practice session. We did some 10-12 transaction in that. Okay. Let us look at that and say, if I have a budget, how can I see what was my budget and what is my actuals? Okay, so let's directly dive into the software. Let's get into Tally and see, okay, how can I start doing my budgets in Tally? Sorry. Okay, fine. So I'm just opening Tally. So I had some few transactions which we looked at when we did the practice of accounting in Tally. Okay, and we also worked on cost centers, right? So budget, first thing you need to remember is, in Tally, budgets can be done for your financial information, not for your inventory information. For inventory, you can't have a budget. You can have budget for your financials. Okay. So example, let me just take this company. Okay. So which we already have some transaction. Okay. So if I want to look at the statistics, I'll say go to RG. Okay. And look at the statistics. So there are already some 10 transactions, right? These are my actual numbers based on my business. Okay. So already there are some few transactions. So let us do one thing. Let us create a budget in this and see, okay, how can we manage this? So first thing is, you can create a budget for a ledger, or you can create a budget for group accounting groups, or you can create budget for cost center, or you can create in combination ledger plus groups, cost center plus groups, or all the three together. So first thing is, you need to be very clear what you want to monitor, what you want to plan, how do you want to plan, and what are all the things that you need to monitor. See, I have seen people preparing budgets for revenue. They'll say revenue budgets. I want to just track only my revenues. So I want to create a budget. Some businesses want to track their expenditure and they'll say, okay, I want to have an expenditure budget. Okay. Or somebody will say, okay, no, I want both income and expenditure. So I want to have a profitability budget. So all the things, combinations can be done in Tally. Okay. So example, let me tell you, I will take step by step. Okay. So first let us see what is my sales number in this data. Okay. So example, if I just click on go to and say sales register, I have 7 lakh rupees of sales, assuming this is the actual number. 4.5 lakhs in April and 2.5 lakhs in May. Now let me just prepare a budget for quarter 1. For first quarter, I have a budget of, say example, 10 lakh rupees as my revenue, as my sales. So I need to do 10 lakh rupees sales. So let us do that, create a budget, and now look at the reports as to how it will generate. Is that good example to take? Okay, so let us just look at how to create budgets. Simple. For anything to create on gateway of Tally, you need to go to create. So here In accounting masters, you are not able to see budgets. It is just showing you only cost center, currency, ledger groups, and voucher types. Click on show more. Once you click on show more, it is showing you the budgets, right? Click on budget. Now you need to give a name. Say in Tally, you could create multiple budgets. Example, you could have an expenditure budget, you could have one revenue budget, you could have one fixed asset budgeting. So you could do the way that you want. It is very, very flexible. Example, let me just say revenue budget for 2021-22 financial yearly budget. Okay. So you could have multiple budgets, one under the other, all those things. Currently, just say as primary. From what date to what date it is applicable? Or we told it's a Q1 budget, right? So let me just say Q1. Revenue budget for Q1, quarter 1. So it is from 1st April to 30th June 2021. Now, against what you want to have budget? You want to have against a ledger or against a group or against a cost center? First, let us look at against a ledger. Yes. So for which ledger you need to have budget? For my local sales. Cost center, in this example, we take location as cost center. Currently, I am saying I don't want cost center. I am looking at overall my business, irrespective of the locations, on closing balance. So there are two types of budget that you could create. One based on closing balance, one based on net transaction. Let us see what is the difference. So example, I am just taking closing balance, 10 lakh rupees is my revenue budget. Okay. See, in this data, there is only one sale, local sale as a ledger. Okay. So this is my revenue budget, or example, I'll say 9 lakh is my local sales. Then I have one more ledger called other incomes. Okay. So I have other incomes under direct income. I'm just creating a ledger on the fly by clicking on Alt C. Okay. And for other income, irrespective of the cost center, 1 lakh is what is my budget. So this is my total budget. 10 lakh rupees is my total budget. Out of that, 9 lakh will have to come from sales and 1 lakh should come from my other incomes. Okay. So this is, I'm just creating a budget for ledger. So all other things I've told no for groups and cost centers. Save this. Okay. Now in Tally, you have actual numbers. Whatever the transaction that you do is an actual number, right? So we went and saw what was our sales revenue. Okay, it was around 7 lakh rupees, right? And other incomes, I just created a ledger, so there is no actual transaction. So let us look at, if I want to look at my budget, okay, how does my budget look like? Okay, so there are various ways that you could start comparing the budgets. First, let me go to trial balance. So display more reports, trial balance. In trial balance, I have all the groups. Under the groups, I have the ledgers, right? And the budget that I have created is for what? Not for groups. I have created for ledgers. So I will change the view mode to ledger wise reporting. So this is for the ledger local sales. I have created a budget. For ledger other incomes, which is not listed over here, I have created a budget. Now I want to see what is my budget versus actual. My actual is 7 lakh. What was my budget and how much I need to still sell? So on the right hand side, you can see there is F10 called budget variance, right? Click on budget variance. It will ask for which budget you want to look at the report. Click on this. Are you able to view multiple columns? The first column is your budget value, revenue budget. So on the top, you could see it is revenue budget for Q1. What is your sales budget? 9 lakh rupees. How much you have actual, how much you have done sales? 7 lakh rupees. So it is also telling you have done 77.78% of your budget. And what is the variance? Variance is if it is minus, yet to achieve. If it is plus, you have overshooted your budget. So 9 lakh, 7 lakh is your actual, that is coming from your tally numbers. 9 lakh is what you had planned, and 2 lakhs is still pending to be achieved. Right? And if you look at other incomes, budgeted is 1 lakh. Actually, you have not done anything. It is still 0, so it's blank. So you need to achieve 1 lakh rupee more. So 9 plus 1, 10 lakh is automatically showing in your profit and loss. So you need to, once when you do that, the balancing figure is your P&L. It's automated. It is very, very simple. First thing is you need to go and just create a budget. First, you need to have a plan. Okay, for which period? So what are all the variance? First variance is what is the period of the budget? And at what level you want to create budget? You want to create budget at the group level, or at the ledger level, or at the cost center? Okay, hope this is clear. Before we move to the next topic, are there any questions? I'll just give 30 seconds time. If anyone has any questions, okay, you could raise.
Mahesh, can I ask you one question?
Yes, Biju.
Yeah, Mahesh, in case of particularly projects, like, for where there is, like, in construction projects, is there a possibility that you can create budgets for example, civil and structural, then you have the so many other things, carpentry,
Yes,
and all
yes.
those things. So
Yes.
can we do such kind of budgeting also
Yes.
in Tally?
Absolutely, you could.
We could do that. Okay.
Possible.
Okay.
Okay. So any other questions? Can you do it to PO wise? No. Budgets cannot be done for your inventory. Budgets can be done only for your financial numbers. So in Tally, if you want to raise PO, you need to have inventory. You can raise POs only for inventory items. So budget is also not possible for inventory. Hence, for PO, budgets are not available. Okay. So hope this is clear. Now let's move to the next. So now, say example, what we are taking is here. Once when we created a budget, so I told there are two kinds of budget that you could create. Two variants of budget that you could set it up. One against closing balance and one against net transaction. What is the difference between closing balance and net transaction? When you look at the closing balance budget, you are always tracking for that value. You are not tracking for any other thing. Say example, in this case, local sales for the period April to June, we want to achieve 9 lakhs. So always when you look at this budget, the reporting, what you get the reporting, say example, trial balance, okay, ledger wise, budget variance. It is just telling you 9 lakh is your budget. You have achieved 7 lakh. You are yet to achieve 2 lakhs. That's all. But it is not considering the time factor here. Time factor was for what? Time factor was for a quarter, April to June, right? But actually, according to this data, our last date of transaction is 1st of May. Means I have still 2 more months to go to achieve this number. So effectively, if it just tell you that 2 lakhs is still pending, it might not give the right picture for somebody to do an analysis, because it is not just about 2 lakhs. It is also about 2 more months to go. Time factor is also there, right? So in this case, example, I want to have a budget of same 9 lakh rupees, but I want to track on a pro rata basis, on a proportionate of what time has elapsed. In that case, you need to set up budget on net transactions. For example, let me just go and alter the same budget. Okay, so example, I'm just taking the same budget over here and I'm saying rather than closing balance, I'll just say it is on net transaction. I don't want to track based on the closing balance, but I want to track based on the net transaction. Okay, so once when I do this budget and go back to the same display more reports, trial balance, FI ledger wise, now click on budget variance for this budget for Q1. See now, what is the budget value? It is not 9 lakhs. It is 3,06,593. How did you get this number? Your actual number is still 7 lakh. Now, if you look at the budget variance, you have actually overshoot your budget number. So how this 3,06,000 it has arrived? Now, when you are looking from the net transaction perspective, it will also consider time factor. See, my last date of transaction is what? 1st of May. So I have what? April 30 days, May 31 days, June 30 days. Effectively, I have 91 days to achieve 9 lakh rupees. Right? So let me just go to calculator and see how this number is coming. So how do you, so without quitting the software, you can use calculator inside Tally. To use calculator inside Tally, in whichever screen you are, if you just press Ctrl N, it will open your calculator on Tally. Hope you are able to see my screen. Ctrl N is for calculator. So calculator has opened. So 9 lakh rupee was my budget, right? For how many days? 91 days. 30 days in April, 31 days in May, 30 days in June. So if you just divide by 91, it will give you per day what is the budget, what is the revenue that you have to earn on an average. It gives you an average. So it is 9,890.1099 per day is the revenue that you have to earn. Local sales that you need to do on an average. This is average. So we are on, what is our last date of transaction? 1st of May, right? So you could look at here. If you go to your gateway of Tally, what is your last date of transaction? 1st of May. So in April, you have consumed 30 days. In May, you have consumed 1 day. So it is 31 days it has got completed. Right? So go back to your calculator. Just say 9 lakh rupee. 100,000 is 1 lakh divided by total number of days in the quarter is 91 into number of days that you have elapsed is 31 days. Is this the value? 593.41. Right? Now, if you look at the budget variance, come back to Tally. Okay, go to trial balance, ledger wise, budget variance for the budget. Is this number matching your revenue budget? Since you are on 1st of May, so I am doing a business review today. So I am sitting on 1st of May. So as of today, my total sale is 7 lakh rupee. So will I be happy or will I still shout at my sales team saying, no, 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 you have still not completed your numbers and everything? If I shout at my sales team, my sales guys will say, sir, please keep quiet. You do your shouting on 1st of July, not today, because we have 2 more months to go. So this gives much more realistic figure than just looking at your 9 lakh rupees and saying, no, 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 2 lakhs is still to be achieved. Yes, that is true. 2 lakh is still to be achieved, but still 60 more days is available with us to achieve this 2 lakhs. Right? So Tally provides you a combination of setting the budgets. Either you could set up budgets based on your closing balance, or you could set up budget based on your net transaction. Okay, so where do you require closing balance and where do you require net transaction? See, example, I have a budget of procuring fixed asset worth 25 lakh rupees because I need to run my project. So I want to track my fixed asset procurement, 25 lakh rupees. In that case, closing balance will be much more appropriate than net transaction. Because at any point of time, because I know if I don't procure 25 lakh worth of asset, I cannot execute my project. So asset procurement becomes very, very critical. Okay. So in that case, closing balance will be much more appropriate way of looking at the budgets versus sales. It's always based on your net transaction. Most of the time, 99% of the time, it will be based on your net transaction because we know still a lot of time is there. I know how much I need to achieve versus what is the time frame that is available for me. Okay, versus example you take Vodafone. Okay, Vodafone is one big telecom company. They have marketing budget of 250 crores
Hi Nagi, parvagilla, but don't worry
for
for 2
a
minutes.
financial
It
year.
will happen.
Okay. Now, what they do with the 250 crores is first thing is they will just allocate based on quarter. They'll say Q1 you can spend 50 crores, Q2 25 crores, Q3 25 crores, Q4 25 crores, something like that they will have. Why 50 crores in Q1? Because they know, okay, in Q1 I have an IPL match coming in, so I need to spend more money there because I need to get more visibility. So they will have their own maths that they do.
Okay.
I request everyone to please mute. Okay, thank you.
ಮಾಡಿಪ್ಪ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾಡಿಯಪ್ಪ ನೀವು ಏನು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಿಯಪ್ಪ ನಿಮ್ಗೇನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿ ಓ ಎಸ್ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಬಟ್ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ದು ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಪ್ಪ ಒಂಚೂರು.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I have muted, not an issue. Okay, so in the example what I was talking about is basically in a for a Vodafone, if they have 125 crores of budget, they might break down based on their own understanding. Okay, so example in Q1 I have IPL, so I need to spend more money there. Okay, so now irrespective whether whatever the revenue that they are going to do in Q1, it is none of their marketing department's business. Marketing department is to ensure that they have to spend 50 crore rupees. Whether you earn 1 rupee or whether you earn 5,000 crore rupee, it doesn't matter. How does the marketing department be evaluated? Is I gave you 50 crores, did you spend or not? In that case, closing balance will become much more appropriate. So in a different business scenario, you will find closing balance is appropriate. In few business scenarios, you will find net transaction is more appropriate. So based on that, you could start enabling your budgets and start looking at the report. So when you want to look at the report, in budgets, it's very simple. You need to just only create the budget. All other things, Tally will automatically do based on the numbers that you have. Hope I'm clear with this. Okay, so let me continue with this. Okay, let me create one more budget. Say now example, I'm creating a budget for, I'm creating one more budget called expenditure budget. Okay, same for the quarter from 1st April to 30th June. Okay, now I'm enabling at the group level, means I don't care under which head you are spending, but I want you to spend. Okay, so I'm saying under expenses indirect, irrespective of the cost center, on a closing balance for this quarter. Okay, when you say closing balance, it will track at the value. When you say net transaction, it will track at the proportionate value, right? So example, let me say on a net transaction, my expenditure budget is, example, 2 lakh rupees. This is at the indirect expense budget. So I'm not doing at any ledger or cost center. Let me just close this. Now let us look at a report. So display trial balance. What is my indirect expenses? 65,900. What was my budget? 2 lakh rupee for quarter on net transaction basis. Now, if you go and look at the variance, now you are able to see multiple budgets because you have created one more budget now. Now I want to look at my expenditure. So what is your budget? 68,131. Same way it has apportionated. 2 lakh divided by 91 into 31. And what is your actual expenses? 65,900. You are almost there. You actually spent 96% of your budgeted value. And what is the balance you have? 2,200 rupees that you can spend. This is as of today, because you are looking at a net transaction. Tomorrow, again, few amount will get added. All right. Now, under budget, what are all the heads you have? Electricity, office rent, printing and stationery, salary account. But where we are tracking at only at the group level, not at the individual ledger level. Now, if I want to break up this 2 lakhs into individual heads, that also you could do. Okay, so I'll just show you how you could do that. Same, go back to your budgets, go to alter, budgets, expenditure budget. So I have already set expenditure budget for group, saying that 2 lakh rupees is my expenses that is allowed under indirect. Now under indirect, what are all the heads I have? I have electricity expense. Now I could say for electricity expense from the 2 lakh rupees, 20,000 is allowed. Office rent. So every month I need to pay 20,000 rupees. So office rent, I don't want by net transaction. I want by closing balance. Because anyhow, whether I do business or not, I need to spend this money. I need to pay my office rent. Right? So in this case, I'll take it as 60,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees per month. Okay, then what are all the other heads that I have? Printing and stationery. Okay, this is on net transaction. Okay, 24,000 rupees. So 80, 104. Next, salary account. Again, this is also on closing balance. 96,000 rupees. So this is my breakup of 2 lakh rupees. See, in few cases you have defined net transaction. In few cases you have defined closing balance. Reason being, some of the expenses are bound to happen irrespective. Even if you close your office, you can't tell your landlord saying, no, I didn't open my office, so I'll not pay the rent. I can't tell my employees saying that, no, I'm not going to pay salaries to you because it was locked down and we didn't open office. Irrespective. So there are some of the expenditures which is going to happen irrespective whether you do business or not, whether you open your office or not. Example, it might be telephone expenditure. Okay, your telephone operator doesn't waive off your telephone expenses saying, okay, it was locked down, okay, don't pay this money. You have to end up paying that money, right? So based on the need, you could define whether it's net transactions or it is closing balance. Okay. So I have saved this. Now let us look at same report. Display trial balance. Now we are at the group level. I had indirect expenditure. I had a budget of 2 lakh rupees, which was on net transaction. So it is showing me proportionately up till May 1st. Okay, you had a budget of 68,131. You have spent 65,900 and 2,231 is balance available. While you just click on Shift Enter, which will explode this report. Now you look at electricity. You had 20,000 rupee budget, which was on net transaction. So it is apportionated for 31 days. And it is telling you have a budget of 6,800 and you have spent 5,400. So you have spent around 79% of your budget money. And what is the variance? Balance is 1413 still available. Office rent. See, look at here. Office rent 60,000 is the budget. Here it is not apportionated. It has taken full value because you will end up paying this office rent. Out of that, you are paid 25,000. So you could still spend another 35,000. Printing and stationery. You had 24,000 rupee budget. So apportionated based on net transaction. So it's apportionated based on number of days. And you have spent only 500. Still 93% of the budget is laying idle. You have not spent. Again, come to your salaries. 96,000. This is on closing balance. This is for the quarter. You can spend 96,000. So till now you have spent 35,000. Still 61,000. 63% of your budget is still unutilized. Is this clear? Are there any doubts? Yeah. Somebody hope raise the hand. Narendra. Okay. Good. So I'll just give 30 seconds time. If anyone has any queries, okay, please ask. Either you could chat or you could unmute and speak so that we can move further. What is the basis of apportionating? It's based on number of days. Okay, it's based on time. Always basis of apportionating is based on days, number of days. So it will typically take what is your last date of transaction? In Tally.
I didn't understand that part. Like, how do you apportion that amount? Like, for example, you're saying 8175 for printing and stationery. So which period have you taken?
See, first you need to look at the budget. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'll show you. If you look at the budget, my expenditure budget was for which period? April to June.
Yeah, okay.
So for April to June,
3 months.
3 months. That is 91 days. It goes based on number of days.
Okay.
Because you could set up a budget from any date to any date.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So your printing and stationery is 24,000 rupees for 91 days. Okay. So example, if you just if I just open my one, hold on.
Yeah, got it. It's clear now.
It's clear now?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Fine. So let us move forward. So in the previous example, when we were looking at cost center, we defined we have 3 locations: Bangalore, Mangalore, and Hubli, right? That is what we created. Let us just take Bangalore, Mangalore, and Hubli. Now, whenever I make a revenue, I need to allocate to which cost center. And whenever I make an expenses, I need to allocate to which cost center. That is the objective in which we took. Now, if I want to have a budget for my cost center, I could define the budget for my cost center also. So like example, now let us look at how is my Bangalore performing. Okay, so to look at that, I need to go to my cost center reports. So I'll just click on display more reports, statement of accounts, cost center, and category summary. So what is my Bangalore? How is my Bangalore performing? I have a 32,900 rupee of expenses and I have 2.75 lakhs of income. So I have a net income. This is my actual numbers. Now, if I want to set up budget for locations. Okay, so let us look at how we could set up budget for locations. Now, let me just go and alter the same budget. Okay, revenue budget, because I want to track revenue, right? So I already have local sales 9 lakh rupee and other income 1 lakh rupee. Now I will just click on cost center. I want for cost center Bangalore. Okay, my expenses allowed, I can spend around 45,000 rupees for the quarter, and I'm expecting a revenue of 3 lakh rupees. Okay, what is the net closing balance? 2,55,000. The difference. Okay, so let me just give only for Bangalore. Accordingly, you could give for Hubli and Bangalore. Okay, once when you understand the concept, you could do of your own. So I've just defined only at the cost center level. What should be my, how much money I can spend on that profit center, how much revenue I'm expecting out of that profit center. That is what I have defined. Now, if I want to look at the report, I don't get this report in my trial balance because this is an MIS reporting. I need to go to display more reports, statement of accounts, cost center reporting. So this is my actual numbers. So if I look at Bangalore, I have spent 32,900. I have earned some 2.75 lakhs. Now, if I want to go and look at the budget variance of revenue budget, look at here. What was my revenue budget for Bangalore? Again, it has taken on proportionate basis. 15,000 because I had 45,000. Since it is for 31 days, it has taken 15,000 as my expenditure, that is debit value. I had 3 lakh rupees of revenue, so it has taken 1,02,000 for 31 days. Okay, and net balance, it's default taking 2.55 lakhs. How much I have achieved? I have spent 32,900. So I have overshoot my budget because it was a net transaction. I've spent 32,900, so I've spent 214%. My revenue was 1.02 lakhs, but I've actually built 2.75 lakhs. I've overshoot my revenue also. It has by 269%. And overall, I'm at 94% balance at the end of the quarter. So here it is doing some intelligent work. For some values, it is taking net. For some values, it is taking closing balance. For closing balance, it is taking closing balance. For your debit and credit, it is taking net value. Because the closing balance is at the end of the, assuming that after 1st of May till 30th June, it was locked down, nothing happened. So your closing balance will still remain the same. Right? Hope this is clear. Any questions on this? Okay, fine. Now, similarly, let me just alter the budget of which I had for my expenditure also. So expenditure I had given at the group level, right? So I'll do one thing. I have also given at the ledger level. Now I will also say in the ledger level, here in the cost center I had defined as not applicable. So what I could do is same electricity expense of 20,000 rupees. Now actually I can go on breaking it down. How much is for Bangalore, how much is for Hubli, and how much is for Mangalore. I could do that. Say example, let me just show it to you. So I'll do one thing, I'll just add one more. Electricity expense for Bangalore on net transaction, it is 9,000 rupees. Same 20,000 I'm dividing. Electricity expense for Hubli on net transaction is 6,000 rupees. Electricity expense for Mangalore on net transaction, it is 5,000 rupees. Look at here, the same electricity 20,000 rupee budget, now I have allocated to the cost centers, to my profit centers. Okay. Similarly, I could do for office rent also for Bangalore on net transaction. It was what 60,000 rupees. Okay. 30,000 rupees Bangalore rent, office rent for Hubli, net transaction 15,000 rupees, office rent for Mangalore on net transaction 15,000. Example, let me just give only these two. Accordingly, you could start apportioning it for other branches, other cost centers also. Okay, so here for cost center, Bangalore, my expenditure was same thing, what I took there, 3 lakh rupees is my income, 2 lakh 55 is my Hubli. Similarly, I could define 25,000 and income of 2 lakh is what my expectation. So it is 1,75,000. Mangalore, 30,000 rupees is my expenses. Income is say like income I'm expecting 2.5 lakhs of revenue. Okay, so I've defined groups. Okay, I've defined ledgers. I've defined cost centers. All the three I've defined for my expenditure budget. Now, if you want to look at your expenditure budget, when you look at the trial balance, it is for the whole company, irrespective of your locations. So you look at the variance report, it is taking from your group level. You want to look at the ledger, it is taking from your ledger report, ledger budgeting. Now, if you want to look at cost centers, it is not available on this report because the cost center you need to look at from the different report. So you can go to statement of accounts and cost center. Now, when you look at the summary and say budget variance on expenditure reporting, see here. It is showing for your Hubli, Mangalore. It is based on whatever the definition that you had given on debit, credit, and closing balance. It is taking from that. But if you want to analyze in Bangalore under what are all the heads that you have spent money, in that case, you need to look at the cost center breakup report and click on Bangalore. Okay, now you could look at Alt F1 as a detailed one, which is showing for your all the ledgers also. Now click on budget variance against expenditure budget. Look at here. Electricity expenses, it is on net transaction. Okay, you had defined a value. So it is taking what is the net value for this 31 days, how much you have spent, and the variance it is shown. Office rent, you have not spent anything. Similarly, you want to look at for Hubli, you could do the same thing. Alt F1 detail, budget variance on your expenditure budget. See here, office rent, the same thing. You don't have any, you have spent 25,000 in Hubli, but you had only 5,000 rupee budget. Is this clear? Any questions on this? If there is any questions, I'm just giving 30 seconds time. Okay, you could either chat or you could unmute and ask the question before we move to the next topic. Because in our presentation, we had two things today. One as budget and second as scenario management, right? Looks like my system is freezed. One second. Just hold on. Is my screen visible? Can anyone respond?
Sir.
Okay, one second. Just hold on. System is not responding to me.
It's visible, sir.
Visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. So are there any questions? I don't know for what happened. My system, why it is not. I'm just stop share one second. Yeah. Hope my screen is visible now. Okay. My other applications have stopped working. I don't know what happened. Okay, let me just open Tally once more. What's the time now? My system is still showing 7:12. It's 8 o'clock. Okay, fine. Hope my screen is visible to you. Is my screen visible? Not.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
No. Okay. 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 I'll just share the screen once and just hold on. I think I've not shared the screen.
Now it's visible, sir.
Now it's visible.
Yes.
But where is my Tally now? Oh. Okay. So let me just open Tally once more. I don't know. Multiple times I'm just opening. Yeah. Are you able to see my Tally screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next topic on Tally is scenario management. What is scenario management? See, in budgets, what you did was you just gave some values. You didn't do any data entry. Data entry was only actual numbers that you did, actual transactions that you had entered. Against that number, it was showing you the variation. So it gave you the variance based on your actual numbers. Now, if you want to see the projection based on numbers which has not happened, but it is going to happen in the future. Say like example, office rent I was talking about. So we are today on May 1st. So we have not paid office rent for May and June, but you are bound to pay. You are supposed to pay and you will end up paying that money, right? So the transaction is bound to happen. Versus if you look at the revenue, okay, while you have 9 lakh rupees as your budget for the quarter, okay, you have some 2 purchase orders or 2 orders that you have got from your customers that still you are not serviced or till you are not supplied the product. So you will be supplying that product or service, right? But today these transactions have not happened in Tally, but you have some commitments. You have some committed orders that you want to supply the material, or you have some committed expenditures that you are going to end up paying those things. Now, if you want to consider all those things, then you need to create something called scenario management and include or exclude those transactions to view the reports. Okay, so like example, I'll just create and show it to you. Okay, go to create. So here it is not showing scenario management. Again, click on show more. You have something called scenario. It's visible. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'll just say Q1 scenario or sales projection for Q1. Include actuals from sales voucher. Okay. Include then example journal vouchers. Okay, I'm saying exclude all others, so I'll just say end of list. So what I'm doing is I'm going to scenario management. I'm creating a scenario management, selecting the voucher type. Since it's a sales projection, I'm saying sales and journal. Okay, so I've just created one scenario management. Now, if you look at what are all the sales transaction you have done, display statement of account statistics, you have 3 sale entry. 1 Balaji, 2 in April and 1 in May. But I know I have got a purchase order, 1 more purchase order. Sorry, from the customer, I've got a sale order from the customer that I need to service that. So as of today, I'm not done, but in the future, I'm going to do it. I want to include that transaction also. So what I'll do is I'm going to voucher entry, selecting on sale. Okay. And here I have something called optional. I'll click on optional, means create a transaction, but don't include in the reports. That is what optional means. So I'm just creating it as optional. Change the date to 10th of May, example. And I'm doing a transaction. Say example, I'm just creating a new supply, new customer. Aditya Management. He is my new customer, so it comes under sundry debtors. $560004. I don't know his GST number. Okay, so I'm just saving this. Okay, Aditya, local sales, 5 lakh rupee I've got from him. Okay, so to which location? It is for Bangalore location. Now against this I have output CGST at 9%. Output is GST at 9%. While I'm doing this transaction, please remember it will not include in your actual transaction in any of the reports because the status is set to optional. Optional sales entry. Okay. So while I've done the transaction on 10th of May, still it is showing the last date of transaction as 1st of May because on 10th, it is a future date transaction and it's an optional transaction. Means it will not include in your sales summary. Right? It is just recorded in your statistics, if you look at the statistics for the period to 30th June, sales is 3 numbers. Okay, it is only one over here. The other one, it is not showing, right? But now, if you look at this sales report, so like example, display trial balance. Okay, and I will say detailed one for the period April to 30th June 21 are taken for the full period for the quarter. So what is my sales? 7 lakh. Okay, now I want to look at, click on budget variance. Okay, for sales projection for Q1. It is showing over here as scenario. Click on this scenario. Now look at your sales. Your budget is 12 lakhs. Your actual is 5 lakhs. Okay, sorry, 7 lakhs. And you have a difference of 5 lakhs. One second. So it does not actually, in actual, it has not taken, right? It should have taken this 5 lakhs also. Because earlier only it was 7 lakhs. So it has not added this 5 lakhs. Okay, so let us see where did we go wrong. One second. So first let us see whether this transaction is recorded or not. So if you go to exceptional report and go to optional vouchers. So this transaction is available as an optional entry, right? Okay. So this is point number 1. So this is there. Now I want to look at what budgets what scenario I've created. In scenario, if I look at the scenario, sales projection, include actuals, yes. Include optionals, vouchers only. Include optional vouchers. Optionals of sales, yes, I've told. Optional of sales. Optional of journal, yes, I've told. Include this. Exclude, okay, all other things. That's what I've done. Okay, fine. The sales projection, I've defined this. Now, if I look at trial balance for the period June 21, so it is from April to June. Say example, let me just say add new column. What is my sales projection number? Show variance, no. In the third column, I want to see the variance. Sales, actual, and 12 lakhs is my scenario. As per the scenario, it was 12 lakhs, right? That is what I defined. Now, add one more new column and say with sales projection and show the variance as yes. See here, 5 lakhs are made to achieve. My actual is 7 lakhs. 7 plus 5 is what it has to get included. It has to include this thing. Okay, so this is where we had the problem. Okay, so where is the issue? One second. When I defined scenario, I had told to include actuals. Yes, for sales order. Okay, fine. Let me just make one entry on sample entry of sales what's the example? I'm just making one entry, sample entry. Balaji Agencies, local sales, 1,000 rupees. Output. Now, if I look at display, trial balance, detailed one, variance with sales prediction. Okay, let me just look at it. Okay, I'll explain to you tomorrow. Let me just look at this data. Okay, why it is taking 7 lakhs and why it is not including. It is taking only actuals. Actual plus it has to take actual plus the scenario. Only one thing, let me just check. Is it because of when I created, did I told to check optionals? Okay, if I make it no, will this work? I'm just checking it. One sec. You just give me a time. Budget variance for scenario. No. Okay. Let me just come back to you. Let me just work on this and I'll revert back to you. Actually, it has to include the transaction which we had done on optional also, so that the projected numbers is also taken care while looking at the budgets. Okay, so this I'll come back to you tomorrow. I'll check this data and I'll tell you where I'm making the mistake. Okay, so that you could understand in a better way. Right? Okay, so are there any questions in this? Venkana is saying, I think scenario also shows separate in Tally by adding actuals. Okay, let me just find out. I don't want to just answer without understanding it. Okay, let me just find out. I'll revert back to you. In tomorrow's session, we'll take up this and then continue with the other. Right? So with this, I think I've come to the end of the today's session. If there are any questions I would like to take. Okay, I'm not sure my system somehow my other applications are not working. I don't know. I need to check what is the issue. Okay, so I'll not be able to go back to my presentation and cross-check whether did we dealt with all the topics or not. Okay, so it's not allowing me to open any other application. So any questions? If there are any questions, either you could unmute and speak or you could also put it on chat. So I'm through with my presentation. Okay, so if there are no questions, you could log off. I'll be available for next 2 minutes. If anyone has any questions, okay, either you could speak or you could chat. Okay, if there is no response for next 2 minutes, I'll be logging off. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Okay, thank you. I'm logging off. Thank you. Bye.